Hello, welcome back. Today we're going to work on something actually very simple. We're going to make a very simple roux. And the reason why I'm doing this is because tomorrow I plan to do a video on making a nice grilled chicken mornay. And of course, mornay sauce is, the base of that is bechamel sauce. And there's lots of different ways in which you can thicken sauces. There's lots of different thickening agents that can be used. Probably, but the most common one though is a basic roux. And basic roux are easy to do. They're fun. I mean, they're very simple to do. The ratio is really easy to remember, and the ingredients are easy to remember. And it's just one of those things. But it does require a little bit of preparation in advance. If you get to the point where you're making your sauce and your roux is not cold, then of course you've got to use something else to thicken your sauce with. Of course, you can use things like a slurry, which is a cornstarch water mixture that can thicken your sauce or your soup up or whatever. But taste is going to be a factor when you do those things. Those are called quick fixes, and they're not, in my humble opinion, they're not the things that they're the best tasting. So a roux is always very nice to use. But like I said, whenever I'm doing things like Thanksgiving dinner, and I'm going to be doing a nice pan gravy, I know that the night before I've got to have a roux made. And a roux it's spelled R-O-U-X, and it's basically a butter flour mixture. And the ratio is very easy to remember. It's 1 to 1. So if you use 1 cup of flour, you use 1 cup of butter. It's super, super easy to remember. Super easy to make. Some general rules about roux are if you're making something that's cold, like for instance, you're making a vichyssoise, or you're making another type of cold soup or sauce, you want to use a hot roux. Okay, so that actually, in this case, would actually work out pretty well. If you've got a cold substance in your base that you're pouring, you could actually use a hot roux in it. Most of the time, whenever you're making sauces, though, they're going to be warm, they're going to be hot, so the roux will need to be cold. It will need to be chilled. So that's what we're doing now. Like I said, I plan to make a mornay sauce tomorrow. I'll do a short video on how to do that, grill the chicken, and I'll make a nice plate presentation. But tonight I wanted to go ahead and make the roux just so we have that ready for us tomorrow. And so I've got my pan here, and I've got 16 tablespoons, 2 sticks of butter in this pan, and it's slowly melting. You want to make sure that when you're melting butter, unless it's clarified butter has a little bit higher of a smoke point. But if you're just using regular butter, you want to make sure that you always kind of slowly melt it, okay? Because it has a very low smoke point on it, and it will burn quickly, okay? And I've had that happen to me many, many times, so I had to learn that the hard way. So I've got my butter here. It's pretty melted. I think it's melted. It's definitely warm. I've got my flour over here. Everything's measured out. I've got my mise en place. I've got my whisk. I'm going to whisk it together in my bowl. I've got my, the container I'm going to put it in once it's done. So I'm just ready to go. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pour. I think it's, like I said, you don't need to clarify this. I mean, you can if you want. You can skim off the top if you like, but you don't have to if you don't want to. So I'm going to go ahead and pour this into the bowl. All right, get that in there, and you can see the steam coming off of that. And that's, like I said, that's 2 sticks of butter. You could use 1 stick of butter. You could use 3 sticks. Just make sure that you get your ratios 1 to 1, so it's not hard. So I picked up 2 sticks of butter. I'm positive this will be plenty for tomorrow, hopefully. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to slowly whisk the flour. And you don't need to sift the flour or anything. You just need to slowly whisk it in, and it's going to kind of create. I'm going to go ahead and put a towel underneath so this thing's not sliding around everywhere. There we go. Just kind of keeps it still while I'm pouring the flour in there. You don't need to fold it or anything like that. Just a good whisk, and just kind of slowly whisk that in there. You need to add anything to this. You're going to whisk this until the lumps come out. It's going to happen very quickly. As you can see, it's already there. And there's really not much to it other than this. But it is, like I said, it's a preparation thing. It's something you really want to kind of plan for at least several hours before, because you don't want to get to the day of and you're trying to thicken your sauce and you want to use a roux, but you can't because it's not made, it's not chilled. It just takes a little bit of preparation, but it's not hard. It's not hard at all. So I've got my roux, and when this thickens up, when this chills, it's going to harden up. So whenever you take it out, you're probably going to want to go ahead and take it out, you know, a little bit early. Looking for a spatula here, and I don't seem to have one. So you're going to want to make sure that you let it sit out for at least an hour. I mean, you still want it cold, but you want to be able to break it apart because it's going to be like chunky. All right. I've seen people throw these things in ice cube trays. That's a good idea if you want to kind of portion it out. I don't. You know, I'm just kind of, I don't know. It's one of those things I think sometimes I maybe should do, but I just don't. I don't get around to doing it. I don't know why. Now that's 1 cup of, well, it's 2 cups. I mean, it's 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of butter. And that is going to be plenty for what we're making tomorrow. So you can kind of see here, all the lumps are gone. It's nice. And I'm going to just put a top on it. I'm actually, don't throw this in the freezer. I mean, it'll harden up to the point where you will not be able to break this thing apart. I mean, you'll be out there with just hammering at that thing trying to get it to break, and it won't. Okay, so stick in the fridge, bring it to a chill. Remember, it's the general rules to roux are hot roux, cold base, cold roux, hot base, and it's not any more difficult than that. So that's it. This is a short video. I just want to show you this because we plan to do something with this tomorrow, but it's ready to go for tomorrow, and I'll see you guys back tomorrow. I'll probably post this video, a snippet of this video on Instagram, so you can kind of see the highlight of it, or anything like that. But this was the full video. I always put my full videos on YouTube because obviously I have more than 90 seconds, and this took looks like about 6-7 minutes. So anyway, thank you for joining me, and I will see you back here tomorrow. Thanks. Have a good one.